Swerve Strickland defeats Samoa Joe to win the AEW World Championship last night at AEW Dynasty. Also, we saw the return of Jack Perry to AEW, assisting the Young Bucks to become the brand new AEW World Tag Team Champions. Will Ospreay defeats Danielson in a first-time ever dream match. The FTW Championship has changed hands as Chris Jericho defeats Hook amidst a chorus of boos from those in attendance last night. Tony Khan discusses MJF's current AEW status. Willow Nightingale is the brand new TBS champion. She'll be facing Mercedes Moné in her debut match at Double or Nothing. The trio's titles were unified last night on the Dynasty 0 Hour pre-show. Toni Storm is still the Women's World Champion. Okada retains his Continental Championship. Roderick Strong defeats Kyle O'Reilly to retain the International Championship. Malachi Black pins Adam Copeland after spraying mist in his eyes. Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy pick up victories on the 0 Hour pre-show. And an update on Jeff Hardy's AEW contract. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Swerve Strickland, the brand new AEW World Champion. Yes, Swerve Strickland made history on Sunday, becoming the first black AEW World Champion in the company's young history. Swerve bested Samoa Joe in the main event of AEW Dynasty to win the title, Swerve's first singles title in the company, crushing Joe with a vicious Swerve stomp to secure the win. Joe had been the AEW World Champion since December 30 when he defeated MJF to win the title. A former AEW World Tag Team Champion, Swerve is also a former WWE Cruiserweight Champion and also North American Champion in NXT, as well as holding titles in MLW, Evolve, and CZW. Swerve debuted in AEW in 2022, where he was quick to pick up Tag Team Gold alongside Keith Lee. After jettisoning Lee and forming the Mogul Embassy, Swerve embraced his villainous side, getting into a heated feud with Nick Wayne and a bloody feud with Hangman Adam Page, which led to Swerve's first chance at the AEW World title. Swerve came close to win the title at Revolution in a three-way against Joe and Hangman, but Joe was able to choke out Page and escape with the title. Now, Jack Perry is also back on AEW television for the first time since AEW All In last year. And the Young Bucks have become the first ever three-time AEW World Tag Team Champions at Dynasty, defeating FTR with an assist from a returning scapegoat. The two teams were meeting for the fourth time, FTR leading the saga 2-1, and the match had a divisive build leading into Sunday's ladder match after the Young Bucks aired CCTV footage during AEW Dynamite displaying the all-in altercation between CM Punk and Jack Perry last year. Many took airing the footage as a retort to CM Punk's comments towards the promotion during a recent interview with Errol Hawani, but the incident was tied into the storyline as a reason for the Bucks losing to FTR in their last meeting. What ensued was over 20 minutes of a human demolition derby, with each wrestler taking turns at going through some form of furniture. The match came to a controversial end when it looked as though FTR was going to capture their own landmark third reign as tag team champions. Alas, a masked assailant came through to the ring and cost them the match, later revealed to be Jack Perry, making his return to AEW after a stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling following his suspension for his part in the All In incident. As security restrained Perry, the Bucks took advantage to climb up and grab the titles. Now, Tony Khan has addressed the status of Jack Perry on the post-AEW Dynasty media scrum. Khan was asked about Perry's return to AEW, with the AEW president claiming that the former champion's surprise appearance got a good reaction from the crowd. He also referred to the airing of the footage as a bold call by AEW and feels that it added to the anticipation of Perry's return to AEW. He said, quote, "I'm really excited about a lot of things happening in AEW. I think Jack Perry's return got a lot of excitement. It got a huge reaction," declared Khan. "I think we made a bold call in the run-up to this match, and really it highlighted and heightened the circumstances, and I do think it added to the presentation of the moment of Jack Perry's return tonight at AEW Dynasty." Now, Khan added that some fans may not have known where Perry was since his last appearance at All In last year, and he wanted to remind fans about the reason for the star's absence by airing the footage. He said, quote, "I felt like it was important to explain, partially, where Jack's been, because the last time we saw him in AEW television was at Wembley Stadium. He went through the curtain, and we never saw him again since. So I did feel like some responsibility to the viewer, given I knew Jack was going to return to AEW, to explain where he's been." So, what are your thoughts on Tony Khan's explanation for airing the footage on Dynamite a few weeks ago? Now, many people were looking forward to AEW Dynasty for the first time ever singles dream match between Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson. And in a dream match that captivated the crowd from start to finish, the aerial assassin Will Ospreay defeated the American Dragon Bryan Danielson at AEW Dynasty. Danielson was coming off the Bunkhouse Brawl match on Saturday on AEW Collision, where he teamed with the Blackpool Combat Club teammate Claudio Castagnoli to take on the Don Callis families Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. The brutality of the night before didn't seem to affect Danielson to kick off the match, as he kept Ospreay grounded to start, showing off his technical wrestling skills, but he couldn't keep Ospreay down for long. The crowd began to chant holy shit before the pair even locked up, and various chants continued throughout the bout, including "This is wrestling, fight forever," and "We're not worthy." The men went back and forth throughout the match, which really picked up in the second half after Ospreay hit the Os Cutter and then a back elbow to Danielson off the apron, narrowly avoiding the referee, who had gotten out of the ring to check on Danielson. The American Dragon then avoided powerbombs and cutters from Ospreay inside the ring after he barely made it back inside before the 10 count. Danielson got his opponent into a signature lapel lock numerous times, but Ospreay was always able to make it to the ropes. Ospreay and Danielson battled hard and ended up in opposite corners to end the match. Ospreay removed his elbow pad and dodged the Psycho knee from Danielson as the two looked to collide in the middle of the ring. Ospreay sent Danielson crashing down and then hit the hidden blade for the victory. After the match, officials surrounded Danielson, who appeared to be injured. Both Ospreay and Don Callis attempted to check on him as Ospreay's music continued to play and the broadcast moved on to a video package recapping the Young Bucks and FTR feud before their ladder match. Now, a bit of an update when it comes to what's going on with Bryan Danielson. Now, there were some concerns, as I mentioned, because of what happened. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, they're reporting that the incident was a planned part of the show. So, seemingly, Danielson is fine. It was just a work, and he's going to be totally fine. But it's just a storyline explanation that they're going to address on future AEW programming. Now, after the show, in the post-show media scrum, Will Ospreay was asked about his recent swipe at Paul Triple H Levesque. Now, at the post-Dynasty media scrum, Ospreay was asked about his recent apparent exchange of jabs regarding the grind with Triple H. After a deep sigh, Ospreay went on to say, "I don't want to address it anymore. I come from a generation, the way I grew up, if you throw a jab, I throw one back. And although I wasn't mentioned by name, it was clearly about me. So, all due respect, I'm kind of done with mentioning anyone over there now. I don't want to do that anymore because I feel like I lowered myself to that standard. I don't need to do that anymore. Look what I just did in the ring with Bryan. That's the only match, 2 from pay-per-views. I got a F-load more to go down. So with all due respect, if you take everything into consideration, of course I'm annoyed about the jab that I took. I threw one back. I don't think it was anything bad. It's an effing joke from 20 years ago, for F's sake, you know what I mean? Like, don't be too butthurt. I'll be honest, that's the first time I've ever experienced true tribalism between the two. It's not nice. It's unnecessary. I'm over it. I can't be bothered with it. I just want to focus on promoting AEW. I don't regret what I say, but once again, you take the entire thing into consideration. It did piss me off, but from this day on, I don't want to go down that route. I don't need to. I'm the effing best wrestler in the world. Don't need to effing F with guys below me." So, seemingly, Ospreay said he's done with mentioning WWE. Now, Chris Jericho is the brand new FTW champion last night, and Hook sat under the learning tree at AEW Dynasty, and it fell on top of him seemingly. The FTW championship is now in the possession of former AEW World Champion Chris Jericho. Jericho defeated former champion Hook, son of the bout's inventor, in an FTW rules match, which essentially means there are no rules. Hook put up a valiant fight, even kicking out of the Judas effect. Jericho walloped Hook with a baseball bat to finally score the pinfall, in full view of Hook's father Taz, with the crowd raining down boos and pleas for Jericho to retire. The win marks Jericho's first reign with the FTW title and his second singles title in AEW. He was the inaugural AEW World Champion, technically his third if you count the Ring of Honor World Championship. The title was initially created by Taz and ECW as a protest against the actual ECW Championship, eventually becoming sanctioned in AEW. But as I mentioned, when it comes to Jericho, he was showered by boos and chants of "please retire." Do you think that was fair? Do you think it was right? What are your thoughts on Jericho being the brand new FTW champion? Now, after the show, we heard Tony Khan comments on the status of MJF in AEW. In the post-AEW Dynasty media scrum, Tony Khan was asked about the potential return of MJF to All Elite Wrestling, noting the absence of the former AEW World Champion. Tony Khan said, quote, MJF is one of the biggest stars in AEW. We haven't seen him in recent months, and I would love to get MJF back here soon. Sooner than later, really soon. Everything's going so great for AEW right now, and that would be something that would add a lot. That would be awesome to have MJF back, and soon I would love that. So Tony Khan seemingly keeping his cards close to his chest about MJF. We have a brand new TBS champion in Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale defeated Julia Hart for the TBS championship at Dynasty, ending Hart's 155-day reign. Hart entered the bout with a ton of speculation behind her after a recent injury scare during the April 12 episode of Rampage, where she appeared to injure her shoulder. And that speculation was fueled by the title bout when it was removed from major betting platforms ahead of Dynasty on Sunday night. Hart did in fact defend her title as planned, although the match was fairly one-sided in Nightingale's favour and ended in just after 6 minutes of action. Afterwards, number one contender Mercedes Moné confronted Nightingale in the ring, though her confrontation ended without violence. Nightingale is now just the fourth champion in the title's history, cementing her name alongside the likes of her partner Chris Statlander and current WWE superstar Jade Cargill. She will also go on to defend her title against Mercedes Moné at AEW Double or Nothing to renew their rivalry from last year. Nightingale previously captured the New Japan Strong Women's Openweight Championship in a tournament final against Mercedes Moné to crown the inaugural champion. Moné had been expected to win the title but sustained an ankle injury mid-match, which kept her out of action until her AEW debut earlier on this year. Now, speaking of titles, the Trios Championships in both AEW and Ring of Honor have been unified. Jay White and the Guns defeated the Acclaimed and Billy Gunn in a winner-takes-all bout for the AEW Trios and Ring of Honor six-man tag team championships on the AEW Dynasty 0-hour pre-show. Jay White pinned Billy Gunn to secure the victory with the Blade Runner after Daddy Ass endured a ton of offense and appeared likely to snatch the victory at one stage. Anthony Bowens and Jay White started the match opposite one another before Billy and Austin Gunn tagged in for their respective partners. They shared a brief father-son moment when Billy helped Austin Gunn up, only to lock him in a side headlock followed by a shoulder tackle to drop him. Colton Gunn also got some time with his father in the ring, attempting to blindside Billy, only for Billy to tank the blow and sock him back. Billy being impervious to offense would become a recurring theme throughout the bout, leading into the final stretch between himself and White. Gunn had almost had the match won with a famouser, but White would push through to deliver the elusive Blade Runner, eventually keeping his opponent down for the 3 count. So seemingly, those titles have now been unified. Toni Storm is still the AEW Women's World Champion. Timeless Toni Storm overcame Thunder Rosa to continue her reign as AEW Women's World Champion at Dynasty. Rosa entered the match vying for the title she had never lost this weekend, having had to vacate the bout due to an injury back in 2022. During her absence, Storm filled the gap left by Thunder Rosa, first as interim champion and now as a 3-time champion. But Sunday night marked the most significant bout in her latest reign, knocking off the undefeated lineal champion to leave no question as to her status in the hierarchy of the AEW Women's Division. The match itself wasn't without its scares for the champion. Multiple times throughout, it seemed as though Rosa had finally put Storm away, but following interference both from Mariah May on the side of Storm and Deonna Purrazzo on the side of Rosa, it allowed Storm to capitalize and hit a low blow, retaining her title with Storm 0 after 15 minutes. Storm's current reign will now extend beyond 156 days after her 4th successful title defense. Kazuchika Okada is still the AEW Continental Champion. The newest member of the Elite, the Rainmaker, retained the AEW Continental Championship in his first title defense at Dynasty, but not without taking a beating from challenger Pac. The bastard also almost had the Rainmaker's number on a multiple number of occasions throughout the bout. Pac and Okada, who faced off in singles action for the first time ever Sunday night on the first ever broadcast of the Dynasty pay-per-view, locked up to kick off the show. The hard-hitting action had both men outside of the ring at multiple points, including when Okada hit a DDT to Pac onto the floor, and Pac barely beat the 10 count. Pac retaliated by hitting a springboard moonsault to Okada on the outside, and the champion got back in the ring at the count of 8. Okada capitalized at one point, hyping up the crowd before flipping them off to boos and chants of F Okada from those in attendance. Pac took advantage of the champion being distracted and got 2 near falls before missing a big move from the top rope when Okada moved out the way. The men then traded tombstones. Pac hit a second pile driver and went to the top rope looking for the Black Arrow, but Okada began to hang on the referee's legs, distracting his opponents. When Pac attempted the Black Arrow again after pushing the referee aside, Okada got his knees up and was able to hit the Rainmaker to pick up the victory. Now, Roderick Strong is still the AEW International Champion, and he also had an appearance from Adam Cole. Now, Roderick Strong is still the AEW International Champion after defeating former friend Kyle O'Reilly with his signature Strong Breaker during the AEW Dynasty pay-per-view. Friends since their Ring of Honor days in 2009, and together, of course, as the Undisputed Era in WWE, Strong nonetheless turned on O'Reilly at the beginning of April when O'Reilly was reluctant to immediately join the Undisputed Kingdom after returning to AEW television following a neck injury that required surgery. The match started off as an even bout and the competitors traded multiple pinfall attempts. Strong hit multiple backbreakers on O'Reilly throughout the match. At one point, Strong hit his former friend with a huge knee strike, taking both champion and challenger down, and they were barely able to get up for the count of 10. O'Reilly locked in a guillotine submission, but Strong was able to send O'Reilly's throat into the top rope. Undisputed Kingdom member Wardlow attempted to get back into the ring, distracting the referee, but O'Reilly attempted to roll up a distracted Strong twice as Wardlow remained at ringside. O'Reilly then hit a brainbuster and Strong kicked out, hitting his signature backbreaker for the victory. After the match, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett rolled out the injured Adam Cole in a wheelchair. Cole stood up and walked down to the ring on his own, still wearing his The Devil t-shirt, seemingly indicating he could soon be returning to the ring, or at the very least returning from his injury sooner than expected. Cole also gave Wardlow a noticeable nasty look as the stable celebrated, and Strong walked up the ramp with his International Championship in tow. Now, Malachi Black picked up a big victory at AEW Dynasty. Malachi Black and the House of Black were victorious at Sunday's AEW Dynasty. Black and the team picked up the victory by nefarious means. After a blistering contest, Black sprayed his trademark Black Mist in Copeland's face, giving him a chance to sit Black Mass and pin the AEW TNT champion. Copeland was flanked by New Japan Strong champion Eddie Kingston and the Ring of Honor World champion Mark Briscoe, but the trio of champions were no match for the House of Black. Black has been a thorn in Copeland's side since Copeland won the TNT Championship on March 20 with a victory over the champion. A shot at the coveted title could be in Malachi Black's future. Now, Black is a former AEW Trios champion but has never held singles gold in AEW. Should he be granted a match against Copeland, it would mark Black's first chance at a singles title since the match to crown the inaugural AEW International Champion, then known as the AEW All-Atlantic title. And we saw a couple of matches on the AEW 0 Hour pre-show for Dynasty as well. They may be feuding after the breakup of the best friends on a recent episode of Dynamite, but both Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy scored victories on Sunday ahead of AEW's newest pay-per-view Dynasty. Beretta kicked off 0 Hour, their match against Matt Sydal, where he had control for a good portion of the bout. Sydal was able to hit a Meteora on Beretta, but the new heel hit a spike pile driver, then a flying knee strike after it didn't take Sydal down. Beretta got the victory when his opponent tapped out to a submission hold in the middle of the ring. He didn't immediately release the hold when the bell rung, and Chuck Taylor ran into the ring to scare Beretta off. Taylor got on the mic outside of the ring and told Beretta he didn't know what Beretta's problem is, but he had until AEW Dynamite in Jacksonville to tell Taylor where he stands. Orange Cassidy's music hit, and as Beretta walked up the ramp, and Katsuyori Shibata followed in lead to their tag team match against Lee Moriarty and Shane Taylor of Shane Taylor Promotions. Anthony Ogogo was ringside for the match. Cassidy and Moriarty started off the match, but shortly after it began, Taylor and Shibata went chop for chop in the middle of the ring. Cassidy was able to get Moriarty out of the ring and hit a dive to send him onto the announce desk. Taylor hit a big leg drop on the apron to Cassidy after a distraction from Ogogo. Cassidy spiked Moriarty with a DDT, but Taylor broke up the offense with a headbutt to Cassidy, but Shibata saved him by choking Taylor from behind. Moriarty and Cassidy traded pin attempts, but Cassidy was able to get up to hit an orange punch on Moriarty for the 0 Hour victory. The pre-show matches now lead up to Dynamite, where Beretta will seemingly address Cassidy and Taylor after turning on them. And finally, a bit of an update on Jeff Hardy and his future in AEW. Now, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Jeff Hardy's AEW deal is up much sooner than expected. When Jeff Hardy signed with AEW years ago, it had been reported that it was done in a way that Matt and Jeff Hardy's deals matched up. However, of course, that's no longer the case, but they're not that far off. Matt Hardy, of course, appeared on TNA Rebellion on April 20 after allowing his AEW contract to expire. but reiterated that he's still a free agent and hasn't signed a deal with any company. Now, his deal actually expired in March, but was extended by a couple of weeks past WrestleMania weekend. Originally, it was believed that AEW had extended Jeff Hardy's deal into 2025 due to injury and sabbatical time. As of late March, that wasn't the case. At that period, Hardy's deal was set to expire sometime in the spring, based on what Jeff Hardy told other talent at recent conventions. Now, of course, AEW could likely extend the time on the deal, but as of right now, they haven't done it. So do you expect that to happen, or are we going to see Jeff Hardy leave AEW sooner than people thought? But there you go, guys. It's latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right-hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.